Okay guys, good morning. So how do you want NLP session now? You want to see really how project goes in industry or the same theory along with the theory what you learned? Project oriented you all want? I have a project which I worked on as a freelancer. So I can show you how exactly project will be designed in NLP. Complete NLP, how that project is designed from core to end, how do we work on it. Okay? Complete project. Will that be okay? Are you interested? Yes. Spetsman is not interested. He sat only for attendance. I can understand it from his face. Only attendance. Fine. So basically, whenever you have NLP, what kind of data you will have? Text data. What language will we have? Any language. Any language. It can be Chinese even. Now presently I am handling a project where the language is Chinese. We have to translate it to English, then work on it. But output again have to be in Chinese. So NLP can handle any kind of language. Okay, don't be in an assumption that it will accept only English. Okay, fine. And before starting NLP, I have to tell you, if you have to go for NLP project, you should also know machine learning. Very well. Because we use machine learning and NLP in combination. For example, I think you all know a word called sentiment analysis, right? In sentiment analysis, what do we generally do? You take a sentence, identify whether it's a negative sense or positive sense, right? Either it be positive or negative, you divide them, seeing how many positives you have, how many negatives you have. And who is predicting whether it is positive or negative? Your NLP is telling whether it is positive or negative using parts of speech. In parts of speech, with the help of parts of speech, in parts of speech, background you will not even know there is a bag of words in which we tell which are negative words and positive words used in English. With the help of that, parts of speech is used. Using parts of speech, the sentences are divided into positive and negative. After dividing them into positive and negative, that is not dividing actually, it is classifying. And here, after classifying, whether we classified is correct or no, who will tell us? The accuracy matrix again. You all have learned that accuracy matrix, right? What is the accuracy matrix used for classification models? Confusion matrix, right? Confusion matrix for classification models. R square for regression models. For classification, do you need any matrix to measure? For clustering models, do you need any confusion, any metrics? Any metrics for clustering? Thank God that you are sure. So what is model? What is the background? I can say you methods used for regression. Background method used for regression. These will be the questions for freshers. These are the overview questions. These are not depth questions. Overview questions. What is the background methods we use for regressions, for classifications, for clustering? For clustering, it is distance measures. For classification, it's maximum likely. For regression, for predictions, y is equals to mx plus c. Equation is the main thing, right? You're fitting all your data into an equation called y is equals to mx plus c. Correct? Am I correct at least? Yes. Thank God. Fine. So whenever we take NLP project, suppose if you are dividing the sentiments into positive and negative, right? After dividing, whether our NLP models are predicting it correctly or not, we again check it with the metrics. Or else we can also do this classification using our classification models like SVM, random forest and all this. Okay. Shall we start with that small project, then I'll go into the industry project? Fine. With that small project, how NLP is combined with machine learning, I'll tell you first. Because this will be the questions for freshers. I recently took an interview for almost 23 numbers till now, only freshers. Now, presently, freshers recruitment is going on. in TCS, Wipro, Infosys and Tech Mahindra. All freshers openings are going on. Even you are in the final semester or final year, you can apply for it. You will be ready with a job before you pass out. You have to apply. Your interview questions will be completely Python and SQL. If you choose, you will also have one reporting tool. Tell me any one reporting tool. One reporting tool name. Tableau. You can select Tableau, QuickView, Power BI, anything. But these three combination will be a job for a data analyst or a data scientist for freshers. Okay. You all can go to the websites and see there are freshers openings. You can apply since 2019 to 2021 or 2022 pass outs also have some chances for few openings. You can apply for it. Okay. And then coming back to this project, so I'll show you NLP project. Sentiment analysis with a combination of machine learning. Okay. So prerequisites for NLP is completely Python in depth. Complete logical Python. You should be ready to think of a logic. Simple logic I'll give you that again I will discuss in my project. For example, I have a word fever. I have a word no fever. This is in other medical sheet. This is in other medical sheet. Now I want to understand if that patient is having fever or no. But I have a NER, you know NER, right? Name entity recognitions. Do you know that? In NLP, that is the biggest concept we have, which is mostly used in real time now. That is the only model mostly used in healthcare industry. Okay, it's named entity recognition. I'll also give some introduction to NER if possible. If you don't know it, I'll also give that. So in that NER, it will identify a word. It will only identify, suppose if I want to identify diseases, it will identify fever. Right? No fever is not a disease, right? So it will only identify fever. So by default, if I just run without any pre-processing, it will tell me both the patient records has the word fever, so both are having fever. But there I have to apply a logic and check whether this word, no, any negation, we call it negation words. Okay, any no related negative words, we call negation words in industry. So any negation word is applied, you have to write a logic. Tell me what logic you will apply in Python here. So whenever you have a word here and you have a negation words before, you have to check for the negation word and tell me whether it is fever or no fever. What logic can you apply? I think you have learned in Python. You know string operations? You know what is string in Python? You know what all we can do with strings? Strings are nothing but this character data. Now we are working on character data, right? Tell me what logic you guys can apply here when it is no fever. Word fever is identified by my model NER. Okay, but I have to identify it as no fever and tell that medical record person doesn't have fever. One simple logic. At least the term, operator what you use, at least the function, some logic which is coming into your brain you have to tell me. What do you want to split? These words? This word based on states, you will split. You're talking about tokenization again, splitting words into tokens. No, I'm not asking NLP. It's a Python logic. It's not NLP anywhere. It's Python logic completely. Think different. It's a basic Python. What you learn immediately you start Python. First data type you study is string, right? In that string, we have a special property for a string. The same property is used here. Indexing. You have negative indexing, right? You have positive and negative indexing, right? Can it not take, after my entity is recognized, can it not take 20 words back behind my indexing? Can I not check the negation words, giving a list of negation words and check for it? Can I do that? Yes. This is how you have to think in NLP project. Completely logical Python. Complete logics. But in machine learning, your data will be there, you tell it to apply, predict, y-test, you will get. For cross-check, you will have y-test. Y-predict you get, you will cross-check it with y-test, right? Here it's not like that. More lengthy. NLP is not that easy. It's the toughest topic. I have a colleague who has 21 years of experience. I actually asked him to come for a guest lecture for NLP. He didn't even dare for it. He takes classes for data science in my institute, whichever I teach. But even though he is teaching, in his class, I go and teach NLP. Think of how difficult NLP is. He is the AI/ML team come manager, the director of AI/ML team completely. 2,000 people works under him. He is the one who gives budget. Not everyone can explore NLP, that is also for sure. But if you touch NLP, you'll have a lot of job opportunities compared to machine learning and deep learning. Because that logical brain you should have. Seriously, if you're trying for NLP, you have very little to learn, but logics are more. Very simple. In NLP, hardly you have 15 topics to read, right? Hardly 15. Tokenization, lemmatization, stemming, n-grams, bag of words, POS tagging. More, what do you have? NERs, OCR. Only these topics you have, right? Only these topics, but when to use what? After which one we have to use what? Same 10 only we go behind and behind and behind. Same 10 we will use round up again and again and again. But that 10 topics with very good Python programming only can help in NLP project. Okay? But machine learning, too much of Python is not required because everything is already present, right? This logic, do you get anywhere else? Will you get it in Google if you write this logic? It's all person who is doing the work have to think of it, right? Yes or no? Fine. You'll not talk also. See, if you're not interactive, I'll not understand whether you guys understood or not. At least speak out. If you're not understanding something, tell me if you're not understanding. Ma'am, I'm not understanding. Can you please repeat? Tell me that. Once I have to show you my students. Seriously, I have to show you my students. I have 3 students. Specially, I'm taking for 3 students. They're from NIT Warangal. NIT pass outs. Think of how do they study. They sit for 8 hours in front of me. They will even not let me move from there. They eat up my brain a lot. That competitive students are outside. I don't know why you are so dumb, I can say. You're not even talking. At least I can hear little voices from there, not even a word from here. I don't know when will you get married, when will you get jobs. Okay then. So in NLP, whenever you have, ఎవడో ఒకటి చేసుకుంటాడు మామ. మీకు తెలియని విషయం ఏంటంటే నా స్టూడెంట్స్లో నా క్లాస్లో ఏం మాట్లాడినా నాకు అనిపిస్తుంది. I'll show you some project for it. Ma'am, I shared you the sentiment analysis project, kada? గుర్తులేదు. I got. Can you guys see this font? Is this font visible? It's not visible, then come front. Come front. Can you guys see? Front ones? You can see, right? Now? Yes. Visible? ఎందుకురా బాబు నువ్వు చెప్తే మళ్ళీ ముందుకు రమ్మంటుంది అందుకే చెప్పారు కదా కరెక్ట్ 4th లైన్లో ఏముంది చదువు See, these many libraries I have to import before starting NLP project. You can see almost what will you need to explore? These are the NLP tools we use for NLP project. Most of the things are covered in this project. I covered even word cloud. This is the project I have done for US students for the final year. They submitted this project. So I think you can connect to it well. It's easy, quite easy. So tell me what you don't know from this. Don't know me I cannot say anything, but what is not in your syllabus? It's not clear. Third. TF highly factorized. Okay, inter tools. Okay. Inka anything else? See guys, in Python total how many libraries we have? 8,700 libraries. 8,700 plus I can tell you because it didn't reach 8,800. We have 8,700 libraries. You explore it when you go in real time. For sure. Even though you try, few libraries will not support in your systems. Best example for library which will not support your system is FIDS library. FIDS library, I think you didn't even listen to that term FIDS library. You heard that FIDS library, you know the importance of it. You give a PDF document, it will read word to word. Word to word it will read and help NER model to identify complete this as a word. You told me tokenization, right? Tokenization, how tokens are divided? Based on spaces in between. Do you know that? Based on spaces in between. Tokenization will just divide the word but does not tell what is that word. But I have a task here to identify what is that word and also identify negotiation word and together tell me what I have to do, right? There I can use tokenization, dividing words first, then use FIDS library to read that word and also combine it with NER to tell entity will recognize words. I'll tell you how entity NER works. Then you will understand in NER we have entities. Okay, and those entities are identified. Based on that entities, they are again highlighted. For highlighting again, I use FIDS library and highlight the word with the help of entities. After highlighting, those words again have to come out of my PDF to a separate module telling these are the keywords whichever you are searching for is present here. Do you understand? See, 100 PDFs. A patient record is present in 100 PDFs in US healthcare. Sometimes it is 40 pages, sometimes it is 100 pages in a PDF. Okay. Number of pages doesn't matter. Ultimately, what I have to do is should not take more than 5 minutes for a medical record to complete. You understand? To complete in the sense, for example, you have a heart disease patient is coming. He has to undergo a surgery. Can it take 15 to 20 minutes only to read the medical record? Or immediately have to approve and tell his insurance that patient has come, you have to get ready with the amount. Which is correct, the second one or first one? Second one, the heart disease, fine. Whenever a patient is coming, see in healthcare everything is critical, right? Mostly heart disease is more critical, right? In that heart disease patient, the surgery, if it has to start, his insurance person has to give me first approval. When will his insurance person give me approval if I clearly tell what is his problem? So when will I understand what is this problem again? If I read complete is medical history, right? Medical history is now 100 pages. How much time I need? In general, if I give you 100 pages PDF document, how long will it take you to read it? You can tell me some answer. I'll not even check. I'll not give 100 pages and I'll check it, right? How many days you're taking? Random answer. Maybe people like me will take 1 month also. For sure. That is why I'm into automation because I need solution for my laziness. That is why AML is improving so much. Right? It will take minimum to minimum. The fastest reader will take 1 day, I can say, right? So will that patient with cardiac arrest wait for 1 day to get approval and get surgery? How much minimum time it should be approved? By the time person is getting into the ambulance to the OT, operation theatre, this should happen, right? Approval thing. Sometimes hardly 5 minutes also will be there because patient already comes in front of the hospital, ready to go into the OT. We have to do some preparations for OT. Before that, he should get the approval from insurance, right? Then how quick my automation have to be? So now I cannot read all 100 pages quickly, right? But machine can read, right? So that is where we do NLP automations. This is the project that we have. In my project presently, where I'm working, we are doing this project. The same project I have done for a startup as a freelancer because it's similar. So both projects combine and tell you as one project now, so that it goes into your brain how NLP is working in real time. Clear? Is it understood? Are you all connecting to what I'm talking at least? It's not like Greek and Latin, right? Thanks. At least you replied now. Fine. See guys, all these libraries, whatever you have learned, you know what is corpus? Corpus. You know what is corpus? What is corpus? Collection of words. Did it have stop words? Will not have stop words. Corpus is the final words which are useful words, I can say, without stop words. What are stop words? What are stop words? Not mostly repeated words. Suppose if this person is a cardiac arrest person, cardiac, 100 times I'll have. That is not a stop word. It's the most important term. And whenever we are talking, అంటారు కదా అలా ఇంగ్లీష్లో కొన్ని వర్డ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా have been doing, I have done this, I have done that. Yes or no? For example, I'm telling, I'll take my name only. Ravli is a data scientist. Okay, BS is data scientist. Okay, we only call the shortcuts. So Ravli is a data scientist. Can I just tell Ravli data scientist? Don't see based on English. The context, will you understand if I just use the terms Ravli and DS? Only the word Ravli, DS. Also, you will understand the context. So this is the human. This is the job. Okay, she is that. You can understand. These are stop words. Understand now? After removing this, whatever words we have, that is corpus. Simply did it go now at least in your brains? What is corpus and stop words? Fine. Now what is tokenization? Split the words. Can I split words or sentences? Both possible, right? Tokenization means. When do we split sentences? When do we split words? మాట్లాడేదే మెల్లగా మళ్ళీ మాస్క్ పెట్టుకుని ఏం అర్థం బ్లూ షర్ట్ ఏదో చెప్దాం అనుకున్నావు కదా మాస్క్ తీసి చెప్పు పర్లేదు నాది హెల్త్ కేర్ ఇండస్ట్రీయే నేను వ్యాక్సినేటెడ్ బూస్టర్ డోస్ కూడా అయిపోయింది పర్లేదు చెప్పు సెంటెన్సెస్ చేస్తాం లేదా వర్డ్స్ చేస్తాం when you have to divide sentences how will you know when to divide that as a sentence how it is taken చెప్పు ఏదో అన్నాడు వెనకాల గ్రీన్ షర్ట్ వాడు మాట్లాడాడు ఈసారి మీకన్నా దారుణమైన వేషాలు వేసి వచ్చాను క్లాసుల్లో ఫ్రాంక్గా చెప్తున్నాను ఫ్రాంక్లీ స్పీకింగ్ జోజీ ఫాదర్ క్లాస్ చెప్తేనే ఫొటోస్ తీసి వాళ్ళకే పంపించాను సీరియస్లీ ఐ గేవ్ ఎ గిఫ్ట్ ఆఫ్ వీడియో విత్ దేర్ ఆఫ్ పిక్చర్స్ టు లెక్చరర్స్ దే డోంట్ ఈవెన్ నో దట్ ఐ డిడ్ I indulge fun and this is more important. This one session you will understand what is industry. That is I'm going directly into project. Before that, at least if you don't know terminology what I'm going to use in project, you will not understand it. So I'm just revising all that terminology. Tell me when will a machine understand that it has to divide sentence? So words, okay. Words because it's these spaces in between, right? For sentences, did you ever try to execute tokenization? Did you ever try to execute tokenization for words and sentences? Did you try? If you try, you have to tell me at least one simple word. If it comes from your mouth, I can decide that you have heard. I mean, you have tried. How will you divide sentences? Whenever it says comma. First comma, then full stop. In a sentence, in between you have comma and then full stop. It will first divide first comma as one sentence, then remaining as one. Full stop ends the sentence, but it also takes comma. That is where you have to do pre-processing again for NLP. We completely rely on NLP models directly. For sure, you cannot rely. Okay. Now here, these are the imported libraries whichever I used. Again, if I go inside, this is AWS connection that I can leave. From the local machine, I have read the sentences data. Okay. After reading the data, these are the target variables I have given. So my shape of the data is, what is the shape of the data? How many rows and columns I have? It is shown there. 6 columns. 6 columns, rows? 16 lakhs rows and 6 columns. Okay. To process it also, it will not work in systems. That is why I have taken it from AWS. Here you can see AWS connection. It's a cloud platform, right? I connected cloud platform so that my process will be quick for this project. Complete this project is mostly running in AWS now. I did a sample here, but the main project is in AWS completely. Fine. If you know Python, you can even do AWS. Fine. Now I have this data. Information is anyways, it's a text data, it's always object, right? Next, in EDA, I have taken target and saw it whether both the things, like the 0 and 4, that is positive and negative is given as 0 and 4. Okay. Now, 4 and 0 are equally there or no in my train data. For example, I have to decide the positive signs and negative signs. I have a data size of 1000. Okay. Now in this 1000 data size, if I have positives 300 and negatives remaining 700, is the data correct? What is the technique I have to use to improve this? What is the technique we use to improve our data to get it a balanced data? This is called imbalanced data. Am I correct? Yes. This is imbalanced data. Can you work on imbalanced data? No. If you work on it, what happens? Wrong predictions. Your precision will be high. Your recall will be very less and your precision will be very high. You can understand when I talk precision, right? Yes. Yes. You're clear about or else false positives I'll talk. Whatever you want, whichever terminology. Precision is fine, right? Precision is mistakes. Simple word. Precision is mistakes. What actually have to happen, it is predicting wrong. Okay? Precision is that. Now, the precision will be increased here. Okay? So this is imbalanced data. How do I have to make it balanced? We have a technique. Not regularization. Technique starts on the word yes. No, standardization to a numerical data. Suppose you have 2 point something something, 3 point something something and 10 point. So this is having an outlier. So get it to a proper format, we use standardization. We use a technique called, the word starts with S. That technique if you use, you can make any kind of data, either in machine learning or NLP or deep learning also to have a balanced data. From balanced to balanced data. What is that technique? It's SCOT technique. Did you ever heard of it? Find it. Explore it. I'll show you. Can you see that word? The second website. Improve your concave lens. Second website is SMOT. SMOT. For imbalance classification. So whenever your data is imbalanced, you can use a technique called SMOT, which helps you to improve your data. That means this 700 it is there, right? Now this 300 also, it will create duplicates and improve this number also to 700 so that my data is balanced now. I can work on it. Clear? Is it understood? Understood? I think you have learned some technique, new technique. Okay? Fine. Now, my data is already imbalanced here, so no problem. Whenever it is imbalanced, I also have machine learning projects which are imbalanced. I use that. Even in real time, we use that technique.
If it is numerical values, we use standardization and normalization. When it comes to text, this is what SMART is.
No, we can use SMART for machine learning also. I mean, like text and numeric, any data. When it is imbalanced, you use SMART technique to improve your data set to getting it a balance. Normalization, standardization is to whenever you have outliers and a larger gap between the data set to standardize the data to one interval of time. You have minimax scaling and all that, right? So to get it to a standard format, we use standardization and normalizations. That is different. This is different.
Irrespective of data type.
Yeah, irrespective of data. Any data type to improve your data, you use SMART. Okay. And in numeric data to get it to a standard format, you use this. In text data, you cannot use standardization. You cannot get your data to a standard format, right? It's all text data. You don't know what is standard, right? Ultimately, what you can do is upper, lower, proper. That's all. Get it to a proper format or uppercase or lowercase. That's all. Okay? Or remove the special character. That is the most important pre-processing step you have to do in NLP. I'll discuss that also. Now here, I divided the data. So I have just seen what data is. So ultimately I have to divide. In my target, when I see, you can see here, right? How many negative and how many positive are there? Exactly 50 and 50 I have. Now in this 50 and 50, so I have to give to my client this way. Client will not accept your algorithms. Your codes he will not study because he don't know that he hide you, right? That is why he hide you. How will he see all your choice? He wants all these visuals to understand what is happening. Clear? What is this called? Word clouds. It is present in NLP, one of the libraries. Okay. You have to learn how to display a word cloud. So for both the things I have seen for 0 and this also what? This is positive or negative? Seeing the words you tell me. Positive. This is? Love is positive or negative? ఏషా లేదు క్లాస్ దాటితే మా అమ్మాయి అంటారు మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు నెగిటివ్ అని చెప్పి గుడ్ ఈస్ పాజిటివ్ ఆర్ నెగిటివ్ పవర్ కట్
Just see, maybe the connection is little. Why you are not part of class? Who are you seeing, Ashok?
I see CR. CR.
Yes. Only Ashok will do job. You sit at home. Because Ashok is the only person working, no?
మంచి జోష్లో ఉన్నారు ఇప్పుడు ఒక 1 year తర్వాత ఉంటుందిరా మీకు నా దగ్గర కొన్ని కేసెస్ చూపిస్తే చెప్తా లాస్ట్
Maybe that is used.
No preference.
అమ్మయ్య కాళేశ్వర బాబు ఎట్లా చేస్తున్నారు మీరు
Things are so tough. They're not interested, no, normally not.
have it properly here. సరే బోర్డ్ యూజ్ చేయకుండా చెప్పేవి ఏమున్నాయి ఎన్ఎల్పి సిస్టమ్ లేకుండా చేస్తాం
Okay, you tell about the placements.
యూ వాంట్ సంథింగ్ అబౌట్ ప్లేస్మెంట్స్ వాళ్ళకేం జాబ్లు అక్కర్లేదు అక్కర్లేదు కదా మీకు
They won't get up from the place, but they want somebody to do a good job and get a good package. I'm telling you, those are the students. They don't even like to get up from their place and walk, take a step, but they want package, and they are paid.
then let's go ahead. See, అదే ఇంకా టాపిక్ అన్నమాట recording కదా ఒక్కసారి ఆపండి ఒక్కసారి